kind of know who can fill what roles. It's a little bit harder, you know, when you play with your buddies because basically everyone learns champions. They don't really learn roles because that's for a lot of people that's very boring. You know, for myself included, I don't really like to learn roles. I prefer to just pick up champions I like and get good with them, and then, you know, learn other champions and so on and so forth until you've pretty much learned all the champions you can possibly learn. I mean, for this game, obviously, there are always specialties that I'm really good with, and then there are guys that I like, that I solo queue. One of the things to keep in mind when you're in a full arranged team like this is sometimes your picks. Oh, that was an interesting one.
An enemy has been slain.
You see a really good kite play by us there, but in a lot of cases, particularly in an arranged team, expect to play. Be careful about experimenting and playing with different champions. You always want to make sure that you don't weaken your team with crazy experimentation. That being said, definitely try new champions and get good with them. But that's sort of what solo queue is for, to be completely honest. Is getting really, really good at new champions, because those new champions will might help your comp better in certain times when other people switch off. But a good example of that is, you know, you won't really see us pick other mid characters because we know that we have a Kennen that'll mid. And he's just so much stronger at mid that for us to decide to switch, we'd either have to be very, very good at our role, or we're in a situation where we benefit more from someone else midding. For example, if the opposing team has a counter pick that they like more. Sorry, a counter pick that will kind of counter Kennen a little bit better at mid, and so we can slot someone else at mid. You see an interesting play by their Nidalee. Basically, we're just kind of constantly backing them to their tower. I'm pretty sure what happens here is we make a slight assessment error at some point here. That's also the one thing that's kind of key when you're playing in an arranged team for sure, is definitely making sure that you communicate very well. And League of Legends is one of those games where team comp doesn't matter as heavily as it does in some other Dota type games, but certainly it matters a lot. Yeah, here's our kind of weird communication error. I taunted the Amumu because I do not want to get stunned by him. Unfortunately, our Tristan didn't switch, figuring she could do more damage to the Nidalee. The reason I taunted the Amumu is because, yes, if I got stunned out after taunting the Nidalee, that wouldn't really have mattered as much. I still would have died, at least by taunting out the Amumu. There was a chance that that's just a communication error there, and a little bit of a bad play on our part. But, you know, that happens occasionally. So the other big thing in regards to team comp is, as far as arranged teams goes, definitely trying to pick champs that you have a build for, at least some semblance of an idea of a build, because what tends to happen, and this is kind of a big thing, is you might be immensely good with a champion, but then you see a really good taunt there just to kind of catch her off when she's trying to jump away. But basically, compositions come down to you know, picking the right champ and making sure that you round out everything overall. Let's see. So I guess I should break down one of the things I kind of wanted to address, which I'll probably address in another video a little more in depth, is the solid number of how many like late game type champs you want, how many early game champs, and how many mid game champs you kind of want. And a lot of times that decision between early, mid, and late game comes down to item build a lot. You can itemize a large number of champions for early